Hey guys, Puzzle Boy here, coming at you with a Dinomorphia deck profile post May 2023 ban list. About time. Um, First of all, I just want to say that for my OG viewers, you guys already know that Dinomorphia is my favorite trap based deck, as you guys can obviously tell. Catch a Gina's Bay. But yeah, like always, there's always going to be a deck image down below. If you guys only care about the deck profile, I'm going to be going over the main deck, side deck, extra deck, and my card choices and my card ratios. So if you guys want an extra long video, you're in for it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Only thing I ask is that you can leave a like to make sure that I'm not talking to myself and people are actually watching me. Anyway, let's get right to it. So of the making of this, literally YCS Philly just happened this weekend, and there was a top 16 Dinomorphia player. So congratulations to him. I will be referring to his build quite a bit. So let's get right to it. We're playing the classic 3 Theresia. This is technically your best starter, of course. You know, Starlight Rares, like I said, favorite deck, trap-based deck. Not only that, these are my first Starlights. So yeah. So 3 Theresia, this is a fantastic card. Essentially, it's your best and should be your only normal summon, preferably. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can set one Dinomorphia trap from your deck to the spell and trap card zone. Therefore, it cannot be ashed. That's awesome. Okay, and then if your life points are lower than 2,000, this card gains an extra 500 attack, so it becomes a 2,000 attack body. And then if it gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can banish a trap, special summon a level 4 Dinomorphia monster, a level 4 lower Dinomorphia monster with a different name from the graveyard. And the other name is going to be the obligatory 3 Diplos. So I have tried playing with only 2 Diplos. Okay, Diplos is essentially another level 4. When it's normal summon or special summon, it's as foolish for any Dinomorphia card. So it's kind of helpful. I'll talk about it later. And then if your life points is lower than 2,000, you burn for 500. You burn your opponent for 500, and then it has the floating effect that Theresia has. Banish trap, special summon level 4 or lower Dinomorphia from your graveyard with a different name. So this goes into Theresia goes into Diplos, etc., etc. So it's kind of like a loop as long as you have traps in the graveyard. So this card, I've tried running it at 2. There's some builds that run it at 2. I can perfectly understand why. The thing is, the reason I run it at 3 is just because I feel like I run out of fodder a lot, and I hate using Diplos, like fusioning Diplos from hand. I just hate that. You're already out a card, you know, you're already playing a slow base strategy, which essentially is traps. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But that being said, it isn't the worst normal summon if you are already kind of set up. And what I mean by that is all your Dinomorphia traps have graveyard effects in the aspect that some protect you from effect damage, because you get really low on life points, you know, 25 life points, and you know, etc., etc. You get really low on life points. Essentially anything can kill you. So your trap cards have built-in protection effects. The normal traps protect you against effect damage burn by banishing it, and the counter traps protect you from battle damage. So if you're already kind of set up, you can kind of use Diplos to like dump a counter trap to protect you from like an incoming battle you can't really protect. So it's not the worst case in the world, but still feels icky. Hopefully we get another Dinomorphia main deck monster. For my hand trap of choice, I am running the 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is for my own personal locals. I wanted to go with a turn stopper, and I feel like Ash isn't that. So Droll and Lockbird, I feel like just hurts a majority of the decks right now in the format, even post ban list. So that's just my hand trap of choice. By all means, you guys can run 3 Droll, 3 Ash if you guys want. The list that topped 16 at YCS Philly, again, congratulations, wasn't playing Droll. It was actually playing Ash Blossom. I just don't think Ash does that much anymore. So therefore, I just decided to play Droll. For the rest of the hand traps, I am playing 2 Wannabe. He was not playing this either. I think Wannabe is a fantastic card. This actually took the place of Trap Trick, because the only thing I didn't like about Trap Trick is the fact that yes, it can get your engine started, but you're only limited to 1 trap card the turn you activate it. so that kind of sucks. I'd rather just Wannabe if I'm going turn 1 and I, don't have anything or a way to get in my traps. I know I can discard Wannabe and I can mill 5 and I'm bound to hit a fusion. This is basically a Pot of Prosperity for trap-based decks. I love this card. This card's fantastic. The one Miscellaneous Source. This card is just great just general protection for your dinos, your Rexstrom, your Ketragina, etc, etc. This card's just awesome. It's really, really good. We're running a monster count of 12 by the gentleman that topped OICS Philly. Again, I'm going to be referring to him a lot. He was only running 10, so 3 Diplos, 3 Theresia, 3 Ash, and 1 Miscellaneous Source. I just wanted to point that out there so you guys can have a general aspect, and you guys can decide for yourself what's better for you guys. Okay, so that is it for the monster count. For the spells, really small spell count. We're running 1, 2, and 3 Pots of Duality and the 1 Fossil Dig. Okay, so yes, you can play Prosperity in this build. I don't like it for the mere fact that I only own 1 playset, and also even if I did have a second playset, I don't really like Prosperity in this deck because I actually really do use a lot of my extra deck. You can't be banishing all your fusions because number 1, you use them as material fodder, and especially to fill up your graveyard so then you can float into them later with alert, or even some of the fusions floating effects that the Dinomorphia share. So I don't really like Pot of Prosperity. And again, like, Wannabe kind of acts as a prosperity for traps. So I don't really find the need. So I'm running the 3 Duality. This gets me into anything that I kind of need. And then the 1 Fossil Dig. If I'm already set up, I can search out a Theresia, but more than likely I'll be searching out a Miscellaneous Source for additional protection. That is it for the spells. And now, the big bulk of it. As you guys can tell. We are playing 3 Frenzy. Very little to say about this card. It's your starter. You want to see this going turn 1. This card's fantastic. Essentially, the Dinomorphias focus on fusion summoning and via traps. So, Frenzy states that during your opponent's main phase, very important, you cannot activate this during your turn. Okay, during your opponent's main phase, pay half your life points. That's the whole gimmick of this deck. If you guys haven't gotten it, you get really low on life points, and yeah, high cost, high reward. So pay half your life points, and then you can fusion summon 1 Dinomorphia monster from your extra deck using 1 monster from your deck, 1 monster from your extra deck, 1 monster from your deck or hand, or 1 monster from your extra deck or whatever. Right? Yeah, and that's why I don't like playing Pot of Prosperity, because you usually send, fodder to the graveyard that you can kind of recycle back. So I don't like banishing my materials. So it's really, really good. This card is the main one. 3 Domain. I've seen people run 3 Frenzy, 2 Domain. I don't know why they would do that. I have tried it, and I don't know why I even tried it. You need to get to your engine. You don't play the game if you don't see your fusions. Domain is different from Frenzy in the fact that Domain lets you activate it during the main phase, either your main phase or your opponent's main phase, so it doesn't matter. But this one you have to pay half your life points, and you can fusion summon 1 Dinomorphia monster from your extra deck only using cards from your hand and deck or field as a material. So while Frenzy lets you use materials in the extra deck, Domain lets you use only materials from the deck, hand, and field. So please keep that in mind. Also, all the normal Dinomorphia traps share the same end effect. I forgot to mention that if your opponent, if your life points are less than 2,000 and you were to take effect damage, you can banish this card and then you don't take effect damage this turn. So keep that in mind. The card that essentially is a saving grace for this deck, what the deck actually needed besides another main deck monster, Dinomorphia Intact. Yes, we're playing 3. I've seen some lists play 2. I play 3. Only reason because I don't play Solemn Strike, but we'll get to that and why. So Dinomorphia Intact is essentially a well, you can just read it. When a monster effect is activated, while you control a Dinomorphia card, okay, pay half your life points, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. Also, there is an additional effect. Whenever you take battle damage this turn, the damage taken becomes half your life points at that time. That is fantastic. This is an awesome card. So the reason why this is really important is because the deck used to lose a lot to Ash. As you guys can tell, I'm not really playing Called by the Grave. You guys can if you want. I was thinking about it, but I fought against it. Dinomorphia Intact is awesome. It doesn't lose to Ash. So essentially the whole thing is, let's just say you activate Domain, right? Your opponent chains Ash. You would stop there. That really sucks. But because you control a face-up Dinomorphia card, because Intact requires a card, you can chain Intact to Ash Blossom, negating Ash Blossom, and then your Domain would resolve. And obviously the additional effect that if you were to take battle damage, it becomes half your life points. So it does everything that you want in the deck. The Dinomorphia counter traps they all share the same effect at the very end, that if your life points is lower than 2,000, and you were to take battle damage, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no battle damage from that battle. So that's what all the counter traps do. For the last of the counter traps, we're running one Dinomorphia Sonic. Sonic, for me, I think it's only a one of, because I don't need anything else. I'm rolling 3 Solemn Judgment, so therefore Sonic isn't really needed to me. I was scared of Evenly, but again, there's Solemn Judgment, so I just don't feel like I need it. I was running 2 Sonic, but the fact that, I'm talking about Sonic and I haven't even explained it. So Sonic states that it's a counter trap. When your opponent activates a spoiler trap card while you control a Dinomorphia monster, pay half your life points, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, then destroy one Dinomorphia monster you control. It's good because your Dinomorphias kind of float into one another, but also it requires a resource that you don't have. That if you can't afford to spend, you're kind of lost. But again, I don't think 2 is necessary anymore. I think 1 is just fine. I've been playing with 1 and it's been doing just great. These are the 1-of spells, the 1 Brute, and the 1 Alert. So, Brute here, pay half your life points, target 1 card your opponent controls and 1 Dinomorphia monster you control. Essentially, pop your opponent's monster and then destroy your Dinomorphia card, or destroy your Dinomorphia monster. Yeah, it's essentially pop 1, and it allows you to float. Use your Dinomorphia's effects to float into one another. And then Alert is essentially a monster reborn. Pay half your life points, special summon up to 2 Dinomorphias from your graveyard whose total level equals 8 or less. So this can help you float into your little Dinomorphias like the Therizi and Diplos, or it can get you into a straight up Rexstrom from the graveyard, or a Ketchagina. This is exactly why I don't like running Pot of Prosperity, because sometimes I would like to send like off of Frenzy, I would like to send a Rexstrom, and then I kind of set up my grave. If my Rexstrom on the field gets destroyed or something, I can alert and get my Rexstrom from the graveyard back. So that's really good. These are like, these ratios you can play around with, honestly. I do think the 1 Brute and the 1 Alert is correct. The 1 Sonic, that just depends on you. I'm running Solemn Judgment, so I feel safe. So I don't really need to worry too much about Evenly. So yeah. 3 Dinomorphia Judgment, essentially. This card was built for Dinomorphia. Pay half your life points and negate anything. That's pretty much it. For the rest of the hand traps, 3 Infinite Impermanence. I mean, this is a great trap card. A lot of people might be wondering, well, you're running a Rexstrom, so why are you running Infinite Impermanence? I mean, this card just is really, really good. You don't need to run it. Actually, thinking about it now, you are running Rexstrom, but if you're going second, you're already playing behind in this deck. So this just kind of slows down the game with Troll and Lockbird. And it's just a really good trap to have, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, if anything, this could be like anything. This could be like Evenly's or anything like that. But Infinite Impermanence is just a really, really good hand trap. Fantastic card here. Ferret Flames. This is essentially another Dinomorphia card. So okay, So this card is your way out of Dragoons. It's your way out of any tower-like monsters. So your life points are always going to be very, very low, right? I'm talking about like maybe 1,550 life points. So this states that if the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, which will always be the case, by the way, make your opponent shuffle face-up monsters they control into the deck, their choice, except monsters with zero attack, so that they so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters they control become equal to or less than your life points, which is impossible because there's very little monsters less than 50 HP, 50 attack. You know what I mean? Obviously, except zero attack. But this card's fantastic. It makes the opponent choose, so it gets around towers, and it's essentially a whole board wipe. It's almost like a torrential tribute. So yeah, keep that in mind. Fairy Flames is a great card. I can also see like running trap tricks, like maybe running 2 trap tricks instead of infinite impermanence. This way you can get into Fairy Flames, because this card is like, if you're sitting on this card, you're pretty safe, to be completely honest. And what I like to do is I like to take damage on purpose, because if I set 5, my opponent doesn't know what I'm playing, and so I hold out as long as I possibly can, and the more damage I take, then I get lower and lower, so then I can pay my half points to go even lower, and go beyond, you know. And then for the rest of the traps, I'm running just the 3 goes and match. This card is fantastic, has been fantastic, to be honest. All your monsters are dark, so you have nothing to worry about there. So that is it for the traps. I believe we're playing 20 something traps. This is a 40 card main deck. I was thinking about going to 42 because I really like evenly matched. I think it's such a fantastic card. But the thing with evenly is that fact that you're gonna need follow-up, meaning like, okay, they're probably gonna stay with the one important card, but I don't know, you're just gonna set 5 and pass anyway, so who cares? But it wastes their resources, or can waste a negate. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. We'll see. Or maybe I can take out Imperms, because I just realized, well, I am running Rexstrom, but Imperm is a really good card anyway, so oh well. You can also take Imperms for Ash Blossoms if you like. There's a lot of things you can do. Okay, for the extra deck, 3 Rexstrom. This card is your boss monster of the deck, next to Ketragina, of course. So Rexstrom is essentially a skill drain on legs as a 3k attack. There you go. Sorry about that. It requires 1 Dinomorphia fusion monster and 1 regular Dinomorphia. That's where Frenzy comes into play, because it lets you use your extra deck as fusion materials as well. So essentially it states that your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters that they control that have an attack greater than or equal to your life points. So if you are at 2,000 life points, your opponent cannot activate monster effects that are higher than 2,000 life points or greater. And you're never at 2,000 life points. You're always at like 500 or like 50, you know? And then it also has an effect that, quick effect, you can pay half your life points. The attack of all monsters your opponent controls currently become equal to your life points. So let's just say you have 1,000 life points left and they decide to go into battle phase. You can use this during damage calculation because it does modulate attacks, which is what I like to do. I always declare damage step and then I activate its effect. So if I have 1,000 life points, I pay half, it goes to 500 life points. On my opponent's monster goes to 500 life points, and they technically crash into Rexstrom. They take 2,500 damage, and yeah, they can't really do very much else. And they all share, and the Dinomorphia fusions also share the Dinomorphia kind of thing that they have going on between them, which essentially states that if this card gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard or by card effect, you can special summon 1 level 6 or lower Dinomorphia from your graveyard, which will more than likely be either Theresia or the main bay 3 Ketragina. So Ketragina is 4,000 attack, level 6. So Ketragina states that this card it requires 2 Dinomorphia monsters. So the whole combo between Ketragina is essentially, if you have Domain, you Use domain, you send Diplos and a Theresia, special summon Ketragina. Ketragina has a quick effect that you can target, you can banish a Dinomorphia trap, a regular trap from your graveyard, banish it. It copies its effect. So you pay another half, and then you copy its effect to, fusion summon. And then this card says that it loses attack equal to your life points. So if you are at 2,000 life points, this card loses 2,000, so it's at 2,000. So if you have 1,000 life points, this card will be at 3,000, etc., etc. This is kind of like your game ender too. It helps you beat for game. It's really, really good. Most of your boards are always kind of one Ketragina, one Rectrum. That's usually the combo. And then for the rest, I am running 3 Stealth Bergia. I rarely ever go into this card, and when I mean rarely, I think I've gone into it once since I started playing this deck back in 2020, like early 2022 when it got released. Essentially, it requires only 2 Dinomorphia monsters with different names, and then while your life points are lower than 2,000, you do not have to pay life points for trap cards or Dinomorphia monster effects, which is very counterintuitive because you want to. You want to be in those very low life point scenarios. This card was good when we didn't have Intact and we were forced to play Solemn Strike, because we did lose very hard to Ash Blossom. So but Solemn Strike, you have to pay 1,500, which is a very expensive cost when you get to 1,000 life points with only 2 or 3 cards. So yeah, at this point, Stealth Bergia is just kind of fodder for Frenzy or something like that. So that's it for the Dinomorphia fusions. For the rest of the extra deck, 1 Logia, 1 Dolka. Again, I don't like running Pot of Prosperity. These cards are very easy to go into. The Dinomorphias float into each other. So I've had boards where I have a Ketragina, a Rexstrom, and then a Logia or a Dolka, depending on, what I need. For the rest of the extra deck, I am playing 1 Raiders Knight and 1 Arc Rebellion XYZ Dragon. This is pretty cheeky. Raiders Knight, the combo is overlay into this, and then use its effect, and then Arc Rebellion, and it's kind of like a non-targeting, effect negation on the board. It's really, really good. It's a 3k beater, can't be destroyed by card effects. Yeah, just another 3k beater, and again, it's a dark, so it doesn't conflict with those in match. 141 Babushka. This is to, stop for game or whatever you need. And then I'm only running the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. That is it for my extra deck. I'm very happy with how the deck runs and operates, to be completely honest. I'm very excited to take these to locals and stuff. For the side deck, I am playing 3 Lava Golems. We do not need to normal summon. We're essentially a set 5 and past deck, so Lava Golem's really good. Yes, Theresia is your best normal summon, but I mean, it's a 3 and a 40 card deck, so yeah, not very needed. As long as you see Frenzy or Domain, as long as you see a way to get into your fusions, you're pretty much okay. So Lava Golem just kind of clears boards. I'm running 2 Lord of Heavenly Prison. I don't have the 3rd, but this is really good. Protects your back row game too. So they can't pop it or anything. 1 Pancratops in place of the 3rd Heavenly. 3 D-Shifter. D-Shifter is a great card in this deck. It kind of sucks that you do lose resources in the aspect of, losing your materials because they get sent to the banish pile, but it's kind of like you have to kind of outweigh the situation. Like, if it hurts them more than it hurts you, then it's probably worth, because you can bring out a 3k body or 4k body very easily and just control the board from there. For the rest of the sides, I'm running 3 Skill Drain. This card's really good. It makes Ketragina 4k, Rexstrom is a 3k beater, so to be completely honest with you, it's not bad at all, because we're sitting on really big beaters and my opponent can't play the game, so I'm happy about that. And for the last of the traps, as you guys can guess, 3 evenly matched. The cards, yeah, you guys already know. You guys know the format. So guys, that is it for my Dinomorphia deck profile for the May 2023 ban list. The deck's great. The deck's awesome. doing this deck profile actually made me realize, like, is Infinite Impermanence really worth it? I would still say yes. What do you guys think in the comment section down below? Because it's very easy to just remove that, either put another trap or maybe even put Ash Blossoms in the main. But let me know. The one thing I wanted to say, guys, is I noticed that we passed the 200 subscriber mark. I want to thank each and every single one of you. I never really expected to make it this far. I don't even ask for to subscribe or anything like that. I just ask for likes, because I like to make sure that I am, people are listening to me. And thank you so very much for absolutely everything and all the support and the comments. You guys really are the greatest. I've been kind of going through a rough time recently, and Yu-Gi-Oh has really helped me, and all the conversations that I've had with you guys have no idea how much that means to me. Thank you so very much for the 200 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you guys so much. Okay, have a lovely day.